So now that you've completed your second one, it should look like this. So here's your first one, and here's your second one, with your thread still attached. Okay, now you need to decide what kind of ornament you're going to use. These are 3-inch ornaments all the way around. You can get them at Michael's or any craft store. So now this is where it can get a little confusing. So we're going to connect the two. Now our thread's coming out of this side, so we're still going to work in this fashion, but we're going to connect this to this as we go. So before, to make this, we needed 25 clear beads, but now because we're going to connect them, we only need 12. And then for our 13th, we're going to find number 13 in this one here. Okay, so I've just gone through the 13th bead, gone this way. You're going to pull, and now you're going to add another 12 clear beads. So here's my 12 more clear beads added on. Now I'm going to go through the 8th bead going this way. Okay, so we're going to go through the 8th bead. Okay, see how that made a point? I've added another 12 clear beads, and now I'm going to go back to this side, and I'm going to go through the middle bead, the 13th bead. There we go. And basically we're sewing it together. So there's my 12, and now we're going to go through the 8th. I don't know if you can see it. See how we're kind of zigzagging? Now, you want to keep it all tight. Don't let it get too loose. Okay? So now we're going to do another 12, get the 13th, do another 12, come get this middle 8th, and just keep repeating this all the way around, and these are all eventually going to connect one by one. Another way you could do it is, because it's going to curl and bunch up, is you can take this one and just see how they're mirror images. Just take it and match these clear points with these ones and just fold it over and just line it up. See how it all matches? Okay. And now, where are we? So we just went through this middle point. So now we're going to go to the top and go add 12 clear and go through this middle bead. Okay, so I've added another 12 clear. And we're going to go through the middle bead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Now see how they match? So now we're going to add 12 beads, go through this middle 13th bead, add 12 more clear, and then we'll go to this top next green bead. And basically we're just, I don't know if you can see it, we're zigzagging. Okay, now do that halfway around, because you want to leave an opening big enough for your ornament to slip in. I've gone from here all the way around to about here, and I've left about 2 or 3 gaps open, as you can see. Now what you want to do is you want to open it up, take the top of your ornament, watch out for your tail, and just slip it on. Slip it in. Now depending where you want to work on your ornament, I like to work near the top. just slip your ornament the top between one of these big diamonds of the clear. Make sure it's not like that, because see how the poinsettias go crooked? You don't want that. So just rearrange it. Okay? Now, find where you are, where your thread is. If this happens, that's okay. Just pull your thread, it'll tighten up. Now this is going to be the tricky part, because it's going to want to resist you a little here and pull. So if I let go of my thread, you can see what happens. So just, oops. So just keep your thread just nice and snug, and just every now and then just give this an extra pull, just to make sure that it's nice and snug. So just continue working like we did before. So we're going to do 12 clear beads, grab the center of this, 12 clear beads, grab the center of this, and then just continue on until we get to the end here. If you get all the way to this point, and see how these are all nice and snug, and these are all pulled really, really, really tight, and now it's starting to almost pull these too tight and distort them. See how I'm kind of shy one bead? What I'm going to do is I'm just going to undo these, and for these last couple, instead of 12, I'm just going to add 13 just to give it some extra length to just make it stretch that last little bit. So I've undone 2, and I've come to the first one that doesn't quite sit right with 12. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back through that middle bead to undo the row, and I'm going to add a 13th bead. Just like that. And then whoop, I like to pull it and then hold it with my thumb against the ornament, and then just go back through the 13th bead. And just go back through the 13th bead. There you go. See how it fixed that problem? Now just keep doing 13 beads until we get back to the start. If 12 work for you, keep doing the 12. If you had the opposite problem and this was too big, just take off 1 or 2 beads just to make it fit. If you need to add any more than that, I would recommend maybe undoing this row and remaking it just to match so that they're even. Otherwise you'll have a really big one and then like a really small one, and it just doesn't quite lay right and it looks funny. So just make sure everything is pulled nice and snug. Now I'm holding it with my thumb, nice and snug. Now I have my final row of clear. Now I'm going to go through the middle green bead, there we go. And just like we tied off this green row the first time, we're going to go back down a couple rows and then tie a knot here, thread your thread through, tie a knot here, and then just keep kind of following your netting and just tying random knots, and then thread your thread back through a little ways, and then you can cut off your tail ends. Okay. So I've tied a couple knots and I've thread my thread through. So I'm just going to cut the tail off. There you go. Done.